In this video, we're going to show you how to install a wheel hub on your Volvo S60 located behind your rear wheels. Using a 19mm socket, let's loosen and remove our lug studs. Go ahead and remove the wheel and set it aside. Now with the wheel removed, you're going to go ahead and locate your ABS wire right here, runs to the back side of the wheel hub area. Now we're going to go ahead and remove this wire. I'll go ahead and grab this and give that a little tug, roll that out. You don't want to grab the wire and pull on that, so a finger on each side and roll that up and out. And right over here, you have a couple clips. Go ahead and pop that right out. Make sure that's free floating. Now right where the wire connects, it's going to be an 8mm bolt right here. I want to go ahead and get your ratchet or your socket, your wrench, whatever you have. I want to go ahead and loosen that. Remove that bolt. We really want to go ahead and remove that sensor once we get that bolt out. We're going to be reusing this hardware, so hold on to that. There it is right there. I'm going to pull that out and just go ahead and tuck that sensor away. Next thing we want to do is remove our brake caliper and bracket assembly. On the back side, you're going to locate two 13mm bolts. You can use your ratchet. You can use a wrench. I'm going to wiggle this caliper and bracket a little bit to make it easy for me to get that bolt out. Get to remove that bolt. I'm going to slide that caliper and bracket off. And when we pull off our caliper and bracket, I'm going to go ahead and hang it off to the side. We're going to need to gain access to the back here, so I don't want to just plop our caliper and bracket over here. And you don't want this to hang, so when you remove this here, you can use anything that you have, some sort of securing strap. We're going to pop this in here, and I'm going to go ahead and use a couple of these tie straps here. And I'm just going to go ahead and secure this right to the control arm. Like so. Let's go ahead and remove our brake rotor. We're going to use a 10mm socket, loosen and remove the securing bolt for this. Remove that and set it aside. Now on the back side right here, you're going to notice the ABS bracket right here bolts to the back side. It's a 13mm bolt. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove that bolt. Now the wheel hub is held in place by four 15mm bolts. There's two on the top, two on the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and tackle these two top bolts here first. Now on the lower forward bolt here, the ratchet hits the spring here. So I'm going to go ahead and use a box wrench. And we should be able to get onto this here. There we go. Now our fourth bolt is back over here. It is pretty tight for this fourth rearward lower bolt, but now you can only get that bolt out so far. Now on this lower rear bolt here, you can still see that it's in the threads. We can't pull it out any further on the back side because it hits the spring. I'm gonna go ahead and start to work this hub out. And as this comes out, I'm just gonna reach around the back and I'm gonna continue to remove that bolt. Just unthread that. And then remove the wheel hub. You can still see that the bolt is sitting in there. Before we install our new hub, you need to go ahead and clean the inside of this port area. Now I'm gonna go ahead and spray it down with some spray solvent. And then I'm gonna use a little soft brass bristle brush to clean this out. Now if you have like an old toothbrush kicking around, you can go ahead and use that on here. Just be sure not to use that toothbrush afterwards. Clean out all that debris. When you're doing this here, you also need to make sure that the surface here where the wheel hub is going to bolt to is nice and clean, and ours is in excellent condition. I'm gonna give that a quick little spray here, dry this off. And spray a little bit of anti-seize on here. Now installing the wheel hub, you need to pay attention to the position of it. There's gonna be two ears that are further apart and then two that are closer. If you look at this here, the wider portion goes towards the rear. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fit this up into place, and I'm gonna reach around the back and start to thread that bolt in. We can see that bolt starting to come through now. I'm gonna go ahead and start to feed the bolts through the back side and start to thread those in. Now once we get all these in, I'm gonna go ahead and run them down as far as I can by hand. Just makes it easier when we get our ratchet on there. It doesn't take forever to kind of crank those in. And just wiggle that hub around a little bit. There we go. And then we'll chase this last one over here. There we go. Snug that down. Next thing we want to do is go ahead and torque down our bolts. In order to get some better clearance, we have our jack underneath the lower control arm, and we're going to go ahead and raise this up. Now the height that you jack this up depends on as soon as you have clearance to go ahead and fit your torque wrench in with the socket. So that height is going to vary for you. You want to go ahead and do that until you have clearance. Now we need to go ahead and torque these down in stages. The first stage going around is going to be 14 foot-pounds. Next is going to be 47 foot-pounds. And in the final, we need to tighten it an additional 60 degrees. And we'll show you how to do that. So I can get your torque wrench up and in there and get to that 14. 14 is not a lot. I think we already reached out with our hand ratchet, and we sure did. So just do that all the way around. Now in the lower rear bolt, we're using a crow's foot here because we don't have the clearance to have the socket in there. Now we're just going to continue on here to our 47. Now that we have these torqued to 47 foot-pounds, we're now going to go ahead and take our marker, and I'm going to mark these roughly at about 12 o'clock. Now you're going to do this for all four, and then you're going to turn these 60 degrees. You can use a breaker bar, you can use a ratchet to do this here. We just need to move that. Let's take a look. And we got a little ways to go. All right, there's our 60 degrees. Now we want to go ahead and continue this process for the other 3. Get that upper one here. Okay. Now on that lower rearward bolt, we're going to use a box-in wrench. And at that point there, once you have that moved that 60 degrees, we can go ahead and remove our jack. Let's go ahead and apply some anti-seize compound to the hub face. Let's line up our brake rotor. Make sure we need to locate that bolt hole right there if you're going to be reusing that. Install the bolt. And we'll snug that down. Now this pretty much just holds that rotor up against the hub nice and flush where it needs to be while we install the brake caliper and bracket. Go ahead and install your bracket. Now there is an alignment pin right on the bottom of this bracket, and as you move it, it should lock into place. And then we're going to go ahead and gently snug that down. And take your brake caliper and bracket, slide that into place. Now once we have these lined up, let's go ahead and install our bolts. I'm just going to thread that in a little bit. Once you get that started, we're going to go ahead and pop the lower one in. You probably just have to rock that caliper in and out a little bit. There it is, till it lines up. You're going to feel that bolt drop in, and then go ahead and get that started. And let's go ahead and snug up that top one there. Now we want to go ahead and torque these bolts down to 44 foot-pounds. All right, now that we have both of those torqued, we're going to install our ABS wire into the little retainers here. Just going to push that right in there. I'm going to install our grommet right here. Roll that into position. We're going to take our ABS sensor, line that up in the back, and we're going to install our bolt through it. Now I'd like to go ahead and spin that bolt in as far as you can by hand. And take our ratchet here. We just want to snug that down. So it's bottomed out right there. That's it. I'd like to go ahead and get our brake rotor lined up so that one of the studs is right at 12 o'clock. Grab your wheel, lift it up, and go ahead and line that up. Go ahead and position that wheel and get one of the lug studs started. And we'll go ahead and follow up with the others, get all these started by hand. And once we get them all started, we're going to come on back and snug them all down. It's best to do this in a crisscross or star pattern. Let's go ahead and torque them. Let's go ahead and torque these down to 103 foot-pounds. Once again, doing it in a crisscross star pattern. I like to just double check these here. And at that point there, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.